Welcome to Answer My Guess.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What up there, Guess? And Noah, what's up, dude?
It's a little glitchy here. Sounds going out. Got a
Uh-oh.
different setup. Whatever.
What's
Make it
up
work.
there, Guess? Week 11, man. Holy moly guacamole. Can you believe it? We're getting down to the bitter end here.
I can believe it because this happens every year out of nowhere. We get this far along. All right, Noah, you gotta go. Say goodbye to everybody.
Bye.
Peace out, Cub Scout.
Peace.
Peace.
Will you play Mario Wonder game?
Next time I'm over there, we're gonna play Mario Wonder, bud. I promise, all right? All right, let's go through the spiel real quick here, guys. Remember to like us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, and podcasting on Spotify. Look for those hashtags, answers by guest, ABGFF and ABG3P. Remember, guys, that merch is out there. $25 for a t-shirt, $45 for a hoodie. We appreciate every single one of you. Let's go over the bye weeks. Bye week 11, Atlanta Falcons, Indianapolis Colts, New England Patriots, and New Orleans Saints. Go, dude, trust me. I know you got to watch the boys. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to keep on going here. Guys, we're going to be doing, obviously, our ABG3P, as well as going through questions from the group and taking your questions live. I see we have a couple people. Make sure you say hi. All right.
So,
how you feeling, Guess?
Not great.
But
because I'm in this setup, it won't let me connect. It's got me. I can't join the chat, so I don't know what's going on. So I don't see anything, but I'm here.
So don't worry. Nobody's saying anything anyways yet.
Well, that's a shame.
I agree, bud. I agree. But you know what? I'm going to post a comment too. Like, comment, and share us. We appreciate every single one of you. What's up there, Leon? Yeah, there we got somebody live. You love it. I love it. Always putting those hashtags out for us, man. We appreciate you. Like I said, remember to always like, comment, and share. Dude, I'm going to jump right into the ABG3P. What do you think? He's ready. He's waiting. He wants me to come. Don't worry, puppy. I will. I promise.
Here's Mario Party.
All right. Games. Okay. One more. Come on.
One more. Let me see it.
Mario 3D World.
Nice. Fantastic.
Watch TV so I can get through this, please.
All right.
Real quick, before we get into it,
I was
texting with a buddy of mine last night. We were watching the game, and Lamar went down. He's playing against Lamar, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, he didn't feel like he was gonna win, and he's like, oh yeah, Lamar's gonna go down. I'm gonna have a shot this week. So excited. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I'm gonna win, talking all the smack, and then shortly after, we all know Burrow went down. He had Burrow.
Talking crap. Yikes.
I said that's why you don't gloat until it's all over. So now he's probably, and then Lamar ended up having 3 TDs. So it is what it is. It's not looking good for him. No,
he had some rushing yards too. I want to say he had like almost 50 rushing yards, if I'm not mistaken. So.
All right, let's get into it. No.
This morning. I can punch super hard. I can punch your belly.
Uh-oh. Be careful there, guys. You don't want to get punched in the belly, bud. All right, let's jump into the first game here. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Over under. The starter now for this Pittsburgh team, Jaylen Warren, 60.5 total yards.
Yeah, we said it was going to happen. He would wind up being the starter. Took a week or two longer than I thought. I was thinking right after their bye, so like week 8. It wound up happening week 10. I think he'll be over. He'll be over. It'll be tough. The Browns are tough, but total yards, he catches passes, he runs the ball. So 60.5 yards, I think that's That's fine. And I like him a lot in this game. I kind of like Najee a little bit in this one. This game should be a bunch of running back and forth. I don't know who you have lined up for the Browns, but I think Kareem Hunt and Mr. Ford are both pretty good plays as well in this game. It's two good defenses. The Pittsburgh offense is better than the Cleveland offense, even with Watson, I think. And now being without Watson, Deontay, somebody had a little bit of a hand thing going in, so we'll see what happens. But and they haven't been using Pickens, but Fryer moves back, so this game's interesting because it could be so slow and both teams just run, and maybe both teams try and open it up. We'll see what DTR can do.
You know, it's funny. I think Fryermuth actually will help Deontay and Pickens because they have to worry about over the middle. Right now, they're not worrying about over the middle because those are your outside guys. Deontay plays a little bit more slot, but even still, I think Fryermuth makes a big difference here as well. All right, on the other side, talking about DTR, 166.5 passing yards over under.
That's such a low number. Depends on what their game plan is. You know, I think David Bell's going to be coming back. They had Tillman come back last week, or come on strong last week or 2 weeks ago. They actually got Elijah Moore involved last week.
He actually looked pretty good, man. Everybody was so high on Tillman.
You know what? I'm going to go over because I think that Pittsburgh and the world, pretty much, everybody's expecting the Browns to just run as much as possible. And if you want to win this game, I think you got to let DTR throw it a little bit. So they certainly have the players that could catch the passes, and that's such a low number. I can see him getting to 170, so sure.
All right, let's go on to the next one here. Los Angeles Chargers at your Green Bay Packers. Over under Keenan Allen, 7.5 receptions. Dude went off again last week.
Yeah, I was doing pretty well in Fantasize Me, our most important league, Rob. And then all of a sudden, Keenan Allen just went crazy. And I pretty much lost just because of Keenan Allen. He had like 45 points or more. That was like when the sickness hit me.
Oh, no.
I actually blame it on Keenan Allen. Doing very well. I was feeling really good. And then he started to go off, and I just started to feel like poop. So he's going to this game a little banged up. But no Palmer. They're using Guyton.
Major pickup this week. Guyton everywhere.
Packers defense is terrible. 7.5 receptions is so high. I could see him getting 7. So I'm going to go under.
All right. On the flip side of the ball, Mr. Aaron Jones, yes or no? 1 touchdown. Did not have one last game, but did have one the game before.
Yeah, he did not, and he will in this one. The Chargers, that's what you do is you run against them. And they're using A.J. Dillon, continuing to use him, and I think he'll do just fine in this game as well because Aaron Jones is there. And the Chargers can be run on. And the wide receivers just aren't coming through. Jaden Reed is the only one who's really been consistent throughout the season. Musgrave to an extent. But Watson can't catch a pass. He's always hurt. Dobbs shows up, scores a touchdown, and then disappears. So they're going to have to use Aaron Jones if they want to win this game and slow it down to keep the Justin Herbert and really the Guyton and Davis and Johnston show. I mean, because, yeah, it's Keenan Allen, but they got another tight end. I forgot the dude's name, but they got another tight end because I think Everett's banged up. There's another tight end.
Yeah, I think Everett and Parham are both banged up, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. They got another tight end in there who actually did something last week. But either way, I mean, it's not a guy that you're starting. I talked about it last week, how it's kind of time to, figure out who your starters are and put them in. We're not messing around anymore. And Aaron Jones is a guy that should be a starter. I think he scores a touchdown and runs pretty well in this one.
Was it Mr. Smart, Stone Smart?
Yes. Yep. That's a name. It's a name.
All right, next one here. Las Vegas Raiders at the Miami Dolphins. Over under Devontae Adams, 68.5 receiving yards. Started off really well against the Jets in the first quarter and then kind of didn't have very much more toward the end of the game. So, what are you thinking?
Listen, the Dolphins on offense are not the Jets. The Dolphins on defense are not the Jets. As good as they are, they're not. And Adams, like you said, started off pretty well. Miami doesn't have guys that can cover him like that. The Raiders are going to have no shot other than to throw the ball. We've been waiting for Trey Tucker to do something. He disappeared last week. They're going to need all hands on deck to do something. But Adams over 68.5. Any other year, he would never have a number lower than like 98.5. This is over. This is over. You're playing Devontae Adams for sheer volume alone. Is anybody here? Is anybody listening other than Leon? I can't see who's viewing. I can't see any comments. Talk to me.
We only have Leon's and mine out there right now, but hopefully some people will start asking some questions. All right, on the flip side of the ball, Mr. Jalen Waddle, over under 11.5 fantasy points, half PPR.
You know, it's not in their blood. It's not in their nature for Miami to take the air out of the ball, so to speak. But I think in this game, if they wanted to just run, Mostert's a little banged up, but Mr. Wilson's back, and they haven't really been using him, and Achan's coming back. If they wanted to just run all over the Raiders, they could. But what's going to happen is they're going to run as much as they want, and then next thing you know, Tyreek Hill or Mr. Waddle will be 50 yards down the field with a ball right in their bread basket, so to speak. So, over 11.5, half PPR. Let's say he gets a touchdown, and it's going to be a long one. He won't even need a lot of catches. Let's go over. Firing them all up. It's the Raiders are that feel good story right now with Antonio Pierce, 2 games in a row. But guess what? You beat the 2 teams from New York that are actually from New Jersey 2 weeks in a row. Now you're playing at Miami. Different story.
Like you said, man, that offense is definitely a lot more better.
I would love for them to be competitive in this one. And stranger things have happened this season alone. And I'll root for it. I was rooting not against Miami, but I like the underdog. I was rooting for Carolina the one time they went up 14-0 on the Dolphins. On the road, Miami's going to be tough. Waddle needs one play to hit this number, so this is over.
All right. Remember, guys, to always like, comment, and share. We appreciate every single one of you. Frank, also, you were watching on X. Were you able to comment? Let us know if you were able to comment on there. I don't want to, for some reason, I want to say X, you have to pay to comment now or something like that. We might have to change platforms and get somewhere where people can comment for free. All right. What's up there, Charlie? Thanks for watching, bud.
Even if you're just watching and you're gun shy, and you don't want to say anything, or you feel like you got nothing to say, just say hello, because that helps us beat the algorithm, because nobody wants to share us still. So we need you to just type something and let organically, we're up to 370 something, I think. So we're doing pretty well organically. Help type. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I'm Frank. I'm in the same position. I was watching Answers with Guests a couple weeks ago, and I was trying to type from there. And for some reason, it just kept on telling me I need to go on to premium and so on and so forth. Again, we might have to switch to that X platform. All right, let's go on to another one here. Arizona Cardinals at the Houston Texans. Over under, Mr. Your boy, Mr. James Conner, 56.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, my boy.
We know you love him secretly.
No. It's second year. But I like this number. I think we get to 60. I'll go over again. Listen, I did not know that Hollywood Brown and Kyler Murray played in college together. I didn't know that. It never clicked with me. They were college teammates. Never knew that. But they
I didn't realize that either.
All the weapons there. Trey McBride are using using Rondale more now because Kyler likes to use him. Michael Wilson a little banged up, but they still have to do the run game. And Rob, they had to pick up Mr. Michael Carter.
Great pickup.
I think that's a great pickup because DeMarcado's terrible, which is why we ignored him. And they don't like Keontae, obviously, and also he's kind of terrible too. So I think Michael Carter. I don't know if he plays this week, but if he's sitting out there in your waiver wires, he could be because we know James Conner likes to get hurt, and Carter's not a world beater, but he was pretty good. And when they drafted Brees Hall, I was like, why? Michael Carter's pretty good. And whenever the Jets needed to throw the ball, Michael Carter was in there on passing downs.
Every
So
third down, man.
pretty good pickup for them. It's a little sneaky one if for somehow you still haven't noticed that. I noticed it, and I was dead to the world for a week.
Oh yeah, when I saw that happen, I text a couple buddies. I'm like, "Watch, he's gonna destroy over there. Not destroy, but he'll definitely be used.
I think so.
More than not." So, all right, let's go on to the opposite side of the ball here. C.J. Stroud missed, dude. I think this kid could be MVP this year. 277.5 passing and rushing yards. So I guess total yards.
This is not setting up well, Rob.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm going to go over because I think this is a back and forth shootout type game. Kyler Murray's second game back. Texans at home. You know what's interesting? The Texans, every other week, they have a different wide receiver that's out. This week.
Yeah, Noah Brown's out. Yeah, yep.
Right? 1 week is Nico Collins, then it's Robert Woods, then it's Tank Dell, then it's Noah Brown. This week is Noah Brown. So it's like it's a carousel of injuries. They're just like, hey, we got these four or five really good wide receivers, but we're just going to sit one or two every week. And good luck figuring it out. But luckily, all of them are eating, as well as Schultz. And Devin Singletary catches passes. So I think this number can be had. It's a high number, but if he can get 30 rushing yards, all he's got to do is hit 250 passing, and I think that's doable.
Yeah, man. You know what's funny is that I'm playing you in Dynasty, and I have pretty much the Houston Texans on my team. I was contemplating starting Stroud, Tank Dell, and Collins just because my injuries and everything that I've and not having depth, but it's still not a bad play, I feel like.
It's not.
All right, let's get the question here from Mr. Fantasy Football Wizard of Odds. Pollard, running back 1 overall, week 11 against that Carolina defense. We'll see. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, we would hope so, but we've kind of thought he should have been the last 2 weeks. Now, what happened last week is exactly what I thought was going to happen, and then I kind of moved off of it as it got closer. So we always talk about on like Tuesday shows. Like on a Tuesday, because by the end of the week, my feelings might change. Well, on a Tuesday last week, my feeling was the Cowboys were going to take out Dak Prescott was going to take out his frustration from the loss to Philly on the New York Giants. And as the week went on, I was like, maybe they'll just rely a little on the run. They'll do something in the first half and then they'll cool off. That didn't happen. They kept their foot on the gas and they're like, screw you, New York Giants. I'm going to just throw the ball all over you because we're pissed off about the Philly game. So maybe that's why it didn't happen with Pollard. But listen, at the end of the game, Rico did pretty well. He ended up, I think, having a better game than Pollard.
You did?
And he played like the last quarter. So sums up with Pollard. He's just not a good RB1 himself in the real world. He was really good when Zeke was there. And we all overdrafted him. We were all hyped up about him, but it's just not happening. Will this be his best week? It should be, but last week also should have been. So will he be the RB1 overall this week? I don't think so. If you say, hey, I'll make a bet with you. You can have Tony Pollard or the field. I'll take the field. I'll take everybody else to maybe be the RB1. I hope he is. I want him in my lineup. I have him in one. I need him to do something. That team is suffering. But until I see it, it's just he doesn't look. Something is different. He needs someone there with him, and maybe they do it with Dowdle. But if that's the case, he's not the RB1 this week.
Yeah, Dowdle, I think, ended up with the touchdown. That's what gave him the over. And you know, you're right. He had more yards as well.
I think he had
If I'm
like
not
70
mistaken.
something yards.
The yards, yeah. And it was all in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next one here. Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over under, Mr. Derrick Henry, 72.5 total yards. Doesn't Derrick Henry beat up on Jacksonville? Isn't this a team that he usually has like 550 rushing yards against when he plays them?
Yeah. He's like another one. Like last week, I started off with all the right ideas, and as the week went on, my ideas went to poo. Because I said it on the show on the ABG3P with you. I said I had Kenneth Walker, and I swapped him out for Derrick Henry in my DFS.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I should have kept Kenneth Walker in.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry did nothing. So, and I had Dak Prescott as my quarterback. I swapped him out. I think I put Joe Burrow in, which I think was okay last week, but not Dak Prescott good. So I feel like I could have been a week early, but I'm going to say under here because he seems like he's a walking zombie. He had the one big game, I think, so far this year. And I think that they're going to use Spears a little bit extra. I think Derrick Henry's gone next year with this team, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It would make sense for them to run the wheels off, but I'm wondering if the wheels are already almost off. They want to see what they have in Spears.
For a man that size, when the defense hits his legs, he just like topples over. He's so heavy on top that I feel like they grab his shoelace and he just tumbles over. But he's usually good for that one big play. You'll get a 40-yard rush, and that kind of makes up for everything there, you know?
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
The Jags are tough against the run, so I'm going under here. I know he beats them up, but that's the old Derrick Henry.
Yeah. No, you're right. All right, let's go on to the next one here on the other side of the ball. Over under being traded everywhere. I actually traded for him this week. Mr. Calvin Ridley, 10.5 fantasy points, full PPR. Is this where Trevor Lawrence finally gets right?
Well, at home, a lesser defense. Last week was you ran into a buzzsaw. The Niners were pissed off. You said it on the show that the Niners were going to run them out of the building. I think you even agreed. You said, yeah, I think the Niners are going to absolutely slaughter them. And that's what happened. I thought the offense for Jackson would be a little bit better. I thought Ridley would be a little bit better. But I'm going to say maybe I was a week ahead. Christian Kirk is who you want to have in your lineup. I think that's clear because he continues to get it going. But they've got to do something with Calvin Ridley because he's had the 1 or 2 weeks, I think week 1 and then like week 4 or 5. And other than that, not really too much. So let's go over here, Rob. And hopefully we give him some good juju.
I like it. I need the juju for him.
Pass on Tennessee. It's tough to run on them.
I agree. You know, what's funny is I have ETN in our most important league, and I'm actually worried about him. I'm thinking about starting Kareem Hunt possibly, but I don't know. I'm kind of just torn.
The moment you do that, ETN's going to have another 3 touchdown game.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm thinking. So,
and
all right.
All inside the 5-yard line. You know what I mean? They get close. Ridley or Kirk would get tackled at the 4, and then ETN would run it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
30 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, I'm going to put him in. He's been in it all week. I'm probably going to just leave it that way. But I have thought about it because, I mean, Hunt's had 3 games in a row with a touchdown, at least 30-something yards, a few receptions. He's getting that 12 to 15 to 18 points. Yeah. That's crucial nowadays. Anything above, that 12 mark, I feel like you're having a good game, even if they're projected for so much more. I don't go off projections. Give me 12 to 18 points from each player. You're probably going to win each week. So, all right. Let's see what Frank has here. When you're finished, would you mind posting all your player/team picks in one post? I wouldn't mind doing that.
Is
Sure.
that this? You want the
Yes.
ABG3P copy and paste it? Okay. You do it anyway. You send it to me. So you just copy and paste it in post, right?
Yeah, I pretty much just have to copy and paste. So I will make sure to do that, Frank. All right, next game here. Dallas Cowboys at the Carolina Panthers. Over under Jake Ferguson, 3.5 receptions. Been getting some love from Dak lately, man.
He has, um, see, this goes with the Pollard. He should have a good game here. They should just run the ball. They're on the road. The defense should be able to control Bryce Young. He's terrible. Um, I thought he was getting it together a couple weeks ago. Wasn't the case. 3.5's a weird one with Ferguson. Just because I think the Panthers are pretty good against the tight end. Um, Passing is what's tough versus Carolina. And you could run all against them. And I think they're using Shoemaker, right? Isn't he another tight end that they have? Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna say he gets 3. One of them's a touchdown. I'm gonna go under 3.5.
All right, on the flip side of the ball here, yes or no, Mr. Chuba Hubbard, 1 touchdown against this tough Dallas defense.
I sat him for Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell's first 3 touches were terrible. His last 5 were excellent. If only those first 3 would have been good, it would have been a much better game. I just feel like Miles Sanders starting to look like he's getting it together. And I think that has put him in the 50-50 split. He was the original starter. They do like Chuba. Dallas is tough. If they get close, I'm going to say
Have to
yes
get close.
because I benched him. I'm going to say yes just because I benched him, but I don't think it's going to happen. Let's just say no.
Right.
No.
You're going to go no?
No. I'm going to go no. They have to get close. You said it.
All right. Hey, Mario, welcome, bud. Make sure to subscribe. He has a question. What do you guys think of a trade I have proposed? Kincaid and Pollard for Brees Hall, full PPR, 10-person. I have JT and Gibbs for running back and Ingram for a backup tight end and thinking about picking up Freiermuth.
So you are trading Kincaid and Pollard away.
For Brees Hall. That's my understanding as well.
I think this week, actually, I don't know, because Brees Hall, like we were talking about Michael Carter in the trade, we were talking about Arizona. Brees Hall is going to be the one that absorbs those. It's not going to be Dalvin Cook. Mm-hmm. So when they get into passing situations, it's now Brees Hall. I know they have Izzy Abanakanawanda, and they want to get him involved, but I think they're going to get him involved to start on special teams a little bit. I don't know if he'll be the pass catcher right out of the bat. I think that it'll be Brees Hall and maybe a little bit of Izzy. So I understand wanting to get Brees Hall now that Michael Carter's gone. But you do have JT and Gibbs. Pollard's been terrible. This could be his week. Fantasy Football Wizard of Odds thinks he's going to be the RB1 this week. I don't know if I like getting rid of Kincaid. You're going to have Ingram and Freiermuth. Kincaid's a touchdown a week, 50 yards a week. That's pretty solid for a tight end. I mean, whether it's full PPR. So, I mean, you're already close to 15 points with Kincaid locked in almost every week. 10 to 15 without a doubt. Frees up a spot, so you're going to pick up Freiermuth. I don't hate it. I like Brees Hall over Pollard for the rest of the season. If you think you can absorb the tight end loss of Kincaid, I don't think when Dawson Knox comes back that it's going to hurt him at all, because I've said for years Buffalo never liked Dawson Knox. He had his one good season 2 years ago out of nowhere. He wasn't even supposed to be the tight end, and they've been looking for somebody. Josh Allen specifically wanted them to get Kincaid. It's his boy. I don't think Knox sniffs the field. So, am I fine with the trade? Yeah, because I like Brees Hall over Pollard. So, uh, I don't like giving up Kincaid because now you got to roll with Ingram. He's been locked out of the end zone all year. But this is where he turned it on last year. So maybe he'll be all right. Make the trade.
All right, let's go on to the next game here. Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions. Mr. Justin Fields will be coming back. 1.5 passing touchdowns before he got hurt. He had some killer games, man.
Yeah, he's over. He does really well against Detroit. Typically runs really well against them. But you know Komet's going to get a touchdown, and I think DJ Moore gets one. So that's 2. Over.
I like it. All right.
Khalil Herbert probably back as well, right? So
he should be back, man. They're saying full practice, full participant. Looking good. I mean, Foreman's kind of slowed down. He's hurt. Roschon hasn't really been doing much. I think Herbert changes it. Herbert and Fields is kind of be what Murray and Connor was last week. They may not be the greatest, but they have enough familiarity that it's going to change the offense and change the way they do things.
Yeah.
All right, on the flip side of the ball here, Jahmyr Gibbs, 11.5 fantasy points standard. Dude has been crushing it, receiving and rushing the ball. That's why I went standard on this one.
Yeah, he'd need 60-60 if he doesn't score a touchdown.
Bears defense got better with Sweat going there, man.
Yeah. Will he get a touchdown? That's the thing. Detroit, anytime they get inside the 5-yard line, they don't throw the ball. They run. Problem is,
they'll run 4 times on you.
Yeah, Montgomery's the one that does it. But they use Gibbs now. So what this is right here is, will Gibbs score a touchdown? Is what this is. And I say yes. So let's go over.
Like it. All right, next one here. New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. Over under Mr. Tommy DeVito, 162.5 passing yards against the Commanders defense that was supposed to not be the greatest. They weren't horrible last week.
What are they doing with Joe Pesci out there?
Oh, no, I like it.
That was his name in Goodfellas.
Really? Tommy DeVito? Oh, that's right.
I would love for them to just give Jacob Eason a shot. You signed him to the practice squad 2 weeks ago. Give him a shot. Because this is a game where he could probably do pretty well. Passing against Washington. They got no pass rush. Give him a shot. See what you got. This is the game where you put Jacob Eason. Because you've seen what you had with DeVito. And while it hasn't been the worst thing I've ever seen, it hasn't been very good. You know, great story, lives at home, mom cooks him meals, yada, yada. But you're really just tanking at this point. You keep rolling them out there. You'd have a better shot with Matt Barkley. And I think you'd have a much better shot with Jacob Eason. Over 162.5. Barkley's banged up. You can pass over Washington before they traded their defensive line away. Now you can run all over them. I like Wandale in this game. I really like Wandale in this game to have a sort of bounce back because the past couple of weeks he's done nothing. Can Slayton burn one? Let's go over 162.5. But I'm going to say this. I hope I get this wrong. And I hope the reason is because he gets pulled for Eason. I hope they activate Eason and give him a shot. And if he does,
you love Eason, baby.
He's got a huge arm throughout the rest of the season. He will be somebody, like if you were a Burrow owner and Darko, there's nobody out there. Everybody's hoarding all the QBs on it.
I saw that in the ABG chat.
Jacob Eason is where you go out there and you scoop. But they got to give him a shot. And this game would make him a name because Washington, this one without DeVito, with Eason, I feel like would be a back and forth shootout. With DeVito, I hope I lose, but I'm going to say over.
All right, flip side of the ball, Mr. Terry McLaurin, 59.5 receiving yards over under. Sam Howell is the leading passing quarterback. Over. I like it.
Over. Man coverage. Dory Jackson, I think, is their top corner. He's banged up. He's terrible. Over. McLaurin's going to have a game in this one.
He had a rough week last week, man. I needed him to come through, and he did not.
Dotson as well. Dotson's going to have a game in this one after his goose egg last week.
All right. Next game here, Tampa Bay Bucks at the San Francisco 49ers. I went Godwin last week, and you wanted Mike Evans, so I'm going Mike Evans this week. 13.5 fantasy points, half PPR, over under.
It seems like such a low number, but I'm going to go under.
Ooh.
I'm going to go under.
San Francisco defense?
I think at San Francisco, Baker was a little banged up. They're saying it's fine. I'm sure it is. They frustrate him enough. I think if the Niners are smart, which they are, and defensively, they're going to look to take out Evans. He's been Baker's favorite target. He's going to have to look for Palmer and Rashad White and Godwin. And I'm going to go under with Evans. I'm going under. I can see him getting close with like a 6 for 77 or something. I know it's like 10 points, but I can see him getting close and getting locked out of the end zone. So under. Cade Otton scored a touchdown, though.
Dude, I was just about to say, I feel like Cade Otton could have a game. A lot of people looking over him as far as from a tight end perspective on a lot of waivers out there, but he's been targeted, man. Targets are the key. I always say each year, I'm always looking for guys that are getting targets. All right, on the flip side of the ball, Mr. George Kittle, 3.5 receptions over under, had a big catch last week for the touchdown.
Yeah, I think last week he had 2 catches or 3 catches, but he had like 100 yards in the touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
A little easier to pass. You can run on Tampa Bay. They really just have Vita Vea in the middle. That's nothing for McCaffrey. They're at home. I think they get Ayuk a little involved. He's feeling a little left out. Jennings is still doing stuff with everybody there. It's nice to see. I'm going to go under with Kittle.
All right. Next game here. Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. Over under Mr. DK Metcalf, 13.5 fantasy points, full PPR. You would think last year this would have been like, what are you even asking that question? Yeah. But that's real, man.
I'll go over. I like all 3 of them here. I like Lockett. I like DK. I like JSN. I like Walker. I like Charbonnet. I think this game is going to be high scoring, back and back, NFC West fun. Matt Stafford's back.
Talking about Stafford, I got Cooper Kupp, 7.5 receptions over under with Stafford being back.
Yeah, I'm going to go under 7.5. I think he could get 6 or 7. Puka's still there. They'll get Tutu involved. Higbee, bless you.
Thank you.
They're going to use Henderson and what's his face, Royce Freeman still. But it's going to be a back and forth. It's going to be high flying in LA. So I think 6 or 7. He's going to have a solid game. Definitely bounce back from last couple weeks. But I think 8's a little high, so under.
All right, the last 4 o'clock game that I have on the list here, my New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. Mr. Zach, as you call him, Wilson, over under 202.5 passing yards.
It should be over, but they just don't let him pass.
And they don't catch the ball.
Hackett's fault. It's Nathaniel Hackett's fault.
If Hackett doesn't have A-Rod, he can't do anything.
No, just look at him last year in Denver.
Mhm.
I mean, he turned Russell Wilson into Zach Wilson last year. I mean, it's Nathaniel Hackett. You said it. The receivers don't catch it when they do allow them to throw. Um, Alan Lazard, that last pick, his arms are like this. Like, are you T-Rex arms? Are you kidding me? Reach out or move your body. He is a shell of himself. He's just like, you guys paid me so much money. You guys are morons. They brought him in, and I hate it because I love Lazard way back before. We all know, anybody that's been with us for these years. But he blew that game. That wasn't Zach Wilson's fault. Lazard blew that. And there's been a couple games like this, like the week before, the touchdown drop in the end zone. You can run on the Bills easier you can pass, even with their cornerbacks being hurt and out. And they just don't allow him to pass. Unless the Bills come into this game pissed off and Josh Allen throws every pass on target, runs the ball, and they just take out last week's frustrations, sort of like Dallas did last week, San Francisco did last week. He's not going to have to throw, and they're not going to let him throw. So I'm going to go under, but it should go over. But Nathaniel Hackett is terrible. He's terrible.
And they can't let him go because then you're messing up what you have with A-Rod and everything that was supposed to happen this year. There's going to be no coaching changes. Yep. It's and it's going to be Zach Wilson, guys, for the rest of the year. I mean, they've pretty much said it's not Zach's fault, and I agree with them. I mean, Zach made some stupid bonehead plays too. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes taking the sack, sometimes those shovel passes, trying to get the ball out of bounds, but
their line is terrible.
Yeah. You got to look at Sam Howell, though. Dude's leading the in passing yards, and they have no offensive line either, but he has more weapons, I guess, technically around him. But you can't even really say that. You have Garrett Wilson, you have Breece Hall. I mean, I don't know.
He does have more weapons.
The gelling of the offensive line isn't there when you can't have guys in consistently every week. Even though the Commanders' offensive line sucks, they're at least the same guys that are playing with each other.
Yep.
All right, flip side of the ball. You were talking about him before. He been a target machine, target monster. The guy I actually traded for Calvin Ridley in hope because I just need a fourth wide receiver. So that's what I did. But Dalton Kincaid, will he have a touchdown? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, the Jets are the worst against the tight end.
Yeah,
the worst.
Not anymore. They're not the worst, but they got two lockdown corners. I mean, so what you do? You funnel in the middle of the field with tight ends. You make a linebacker try and cover this guy.
I think Quincy Williams could play him well. Mosley could play him well, but all he needs is that little bit of separation. If Josh Allen's on, like you said, different game.
Yeah. I got a feeling will be too.
Yeah, but they fired the offensive coordinator. Of course, it always happens with the Jets. It's like, all right, the Raiders, they fired the head coach. Will they have two in a row? Yep. Bills fire their offensive coordinator. What's going to happen? 58 points are going to be put on the board.
Yep.
All right, Sunday Night Football here. Minnesota Vikings and the Denver Broncos. Over under Mr. TJ Hawkinson, 8.5 targets. With it sounds like Justin Jefferson is not coming back this week.
That's a lot of targets.
He's been getting a lot, man. Dobbs has been looking his way.
I was trying to hear if the baby was crying. I'm going to say under. Noah, can you turn that down, please?
All right. I always have to get a kicker in. At least one in the show. Over under, Mr. Will Lutz, 8.5 kicking points. Sounds like a lot, but Denver Broncos sometimes have been stalling in the red zone and been getting a lot of field goals up.
I actually think this game is a pretty good scoring game because at home, but I think the defense for the Broncos is what's going to show up here. Dobbs on the road. So if the Vikings defense can stall them even a little bit, field goals, 2 of them, 2 extra points. We only have 3 field goals. That's what I'm betting on. I'm going to go under because I think they get 3 touchdowns and 1 field goal.
All right. Remember, guys, to always like, comment, and share. We appreciate every single one of you. All right. Last game. Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, Monday Night Football. Over under Mr. DeAndre Swift, 78.5 total yards.
Total yards, I'm going to go over. I think you're going to see some extra Gainwell in this one, maybe some Penny. I think it's going to be all hands on deck. This is Super Bowl revenge rematch. I like the over for total yards, yes.
All right. Finally finishing off. I haven't put this guy on here at all, I don't think, this year, but Mr. Patrick Mahomes, over under 312.5 total yards, passing and rushing.
Under.
Who wins this game?
I think Philly. If you think about the Super Bowl, Philly had that thing won. They were killing them for 2 quarters at least. And Kansas City put it together and came back. I think Philly wins this one.
I think Devonta Smith has 2 touchdowns this game. Just throwing it out there. Don't know why. Been thinking about it all week. I'm like, Devonta Smith, he was coming on before the bye a little bit. Everyone's down on Devonta Smith, seeing him being traded before the deadline. Usually this is the last week of the deadline for a lot, or as far as you can go out, as far as the trade deadline. Seeing his name everywhere, really have a feeling that he's going to go for 2 touchdowns this week.
I like it.
All right. We're going to go to
Goddard.
your... Say again?
No Goddard.
Yeah, that helps him. That definitely helps him. All right, we're going to go to the questions from the group. Don't pay attention to the background while I do the magical changes. All right. Corey with the question here. Contending team that's pretty loaded, but wouldn't mind a little more wide receiver depth. Thoughts on trading Dameon Pierce for Lockett? I also have Singletary, full point PPR. I've tried to get Keenan Allen and Cooper Kupp, but those haven't worked. He countered Dameon Pierce for Deebo Samuel.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I countered Dameon Pierce for Deebo Samuel.
I think whatever you can trade Dameon Pierce and get a wide receiver, if that's what you need, do it. He's out again this week. He's wasted space. Yes.
Yeah, I would even say for a wide receiver 3, you're kind of shooting high a little bit over there for Lockett and Deebo and stuff like that. Even if you can get somebody, I know it's kind of crazy to say, even like a Quentin Johnston or something like that. Pierce is doing nothing right now for anybody, and Singletary, I think, is taking over there. So, all right, Jeremy, with some questions here. Pick 3: Woods, Cooks, Kirk, Lazard, or Mooney.
Definitely Kirk. I'll go with Woods and Mooney.
All right, next one here. How should I evaluate what kicker to keep and drop? No need to hold 2.
Look at their schedules, see which one plays the most games indoors or in nice weather over the rest of the season, and then see which ones have the better offense and even plays against better defenses, because you actually want a kicker going against better defenses because it gives you better shots at field goal tries.
I like it. And make sure if you have a kicker that you're dropping that they've had their bye already. So if they haven't had their bye and you drop the other kicker, now you're going to have to pick up somebody if they haven't had their bye yet. Mm-hmm. All right. Looks like I will most likely get Najee off waivers. I'm already starting Henry and Jacobs. Would it be better to start him in the flex over or Achane coming off injury? If Achane's playing, I'm taking Achane.
Yeah, I want to fire up Achane this week.
All right, Frank with the question here. I got to make my screen bigger because I can't read any of this stuff. With Andrews down, are there any options available at tight end?
I already saw this, and I told him K-Dotton, top one on the list. I told him go pick him up now before somebody else does. He's the only thing worth anything there. K-Dotton.
All right, Frank with another one here. Is Mostert worth a start this week over Swift or White? He's banged up, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I take the Monday Night Magic with Swift, and Rashad White he's a workhorse. He does it all. He's a 3-down back. I'm going to use him. He's going to be on the field 100% of the time for the most part. So I'm going to bench Mostert over those two, or under those two.
I always look to a guy coming in hurt after the bye week. That's not good in my opinion. I would probably stay away from something like that. So,
yeah.
All right, Dawn with one here. I want to offer a trade to a team who lost Burrow. I have Herbert and Murray. Who should I ask for? I also have Zay Flowers not pictured. So I put the other team here first. So the other team has Keenan Allen, Evans, Gabe Davis, Barkley, Pacheco, Kelsey, Ford, Olave, and Njoku, and Stevenson. Her team, I don't think we really need to see, but
yeah, I remember looking at this. Just to sort of answer her question, you could put up her team, but I think like Olave and Pacheco would be two people you could probably grab. But I remember looking at her teams, just like your team is pretty good. Why not just hold on to the two quarterbacks that you have, just in case one goes down? Screw the guy that had Burrow. Let his team fall apart. All these people jump into trade to get a piece to help out another team with a quarterback. No. Sorry. You lost your quarterback. I'm sorry. Listen, you know how many quarterbacks I've lost this year in the first half of games and still won at least 50% of those games? Fight. Make them fight. When you have a team that's as good as hers, you don't need to offer them a quarterback to take a piece off their team. Would it help your team? Yeah. Olave or Pacheco. If you can get Pacheco to go in there to play over Pollard each week, I'm okay with that. And then or Olave over Ridley. But otherwise, I just sit. I mean, you got Javonte on there, you got Garrett Wilson, you got Mostert, you got Deontay. It's like your team is okay.
All right. Charlie with a question here. Question for the show tonight. Full PPR, 12-team league. Trade offer is my Kyler Murray and Olave for Javonte Williams and Tutu Atwell. I don't need Atwell, but Williams is needed in my opinion. Team is below.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think you could get away with this.
All right. I was just
not going to help you too much, but yeah, you need the running back help.
And then he said, I consider countering with Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown. Who do you think value more long-term, Olave or Marquise Brown? Thanks for putting the hashtag, bud. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. It should be Olave, but it hasn't been. See which one he likes.
I would think the double BB bangers, the Murray and Brown actually might go better, and I would hold on to Olave, especially with all the issues that are happening with Michael Thomas. You don't know what's going on there. So, All right. Landon has 2 questions here. Pick 3 wide receivers to start. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Raji Rice, or Nico Collins, who is healthy and will play this weekend.
I'm going to go with Adams, Rice, and Collins.
All right. Next one. Pick 2 running backs. Jerome Ford, Brian Robinson, and Javonte Williams.
I like Ford a lot this week, but I'm going to stick with Javonte, and I don't think you can bench Brian Robinson this week against the Giants. So Robinson, Javonte.
All right, guys. Remember, the merch is out there. That's what it looks like. T-shirts are $25 ship. Hoodies are $45 ship. Again, we appreciate every single one of you. Let's change this back up there, guests. Let's remove that.
And quick update, if anybody's here still watching, Rob and I are going to be live on Tuesday, right?
We will be live on Tuesday, friend.
And it's going to be a big show. So we're going to be the recap for week 11 and our only show for week 12. It's going to have the Thanksgiving games, the Black Friday game, and then the Sunday games. So next Tuesday is your only chance to watch Answers by Guests. If you have questions beyond that point, ask them in the group or ask them in the video. Rob gets notifications on YouTube when somebody comments on the video, so we can answer those there. but it's going to be Tuesday will be our show. If you have questions for this week, make sure you get them in by 12:30 Eastern on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Remember, always look for those hashtags, answers by guests, ABGFF and ABG3P. Always follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Patreon, and we'll be on Spotify. Guess, I wish you the best of luck. I got you in 2 leagues. I told you going in.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous as far as what's happening here. So,
Good luck this week. Hit a bunch of questions. Cut you short.
all right. Peace.
Good night.